coming to you live via YouTube streaming, via Facebook streaming, and also on Skype online. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. A spiritual dimension of COVID-19 pandemonium. At the request from many, I have decided to speak on the spiritual dimension of this so-called pandemonium that goes on pushing more and more persons into fear psychosis and thus into fear of death. The talk is the outcome of certain request from a number of seekers world over for my spiritual viewpoint of this virus. In particular, I will make mention of one such request which reads as follows. The request was personal, however, I had given it a generalized expression. During these last few days, I have been wondering about one thing that only a realized master can give an answer. It is regarding the coronavirus disease, COVID-19 pandemic. I have some concern for the reason for it to come right now. May I ask from a spiritual viewpoint, what is the cause of this pandemic? Is it collective karma or some other reasons for it to come now, or just a coincidence by nature? I will definitely not go into the karma aspect of it because that is a totally different. At the moment, my focus will remain on certain other aspects. One thing I have learned that the coronavirus disease pandemic is an evidence that all human on this earth are linked together nowadays. Whatever is happening on one side of the world will soon spread to the other side too. We are one global entire, not separate islands. Therefore, man should act in love of all humanity. This I learned from the coronavirus and is thankful for its lessons. The crowd always pushes man to the abyss. Man, a person in crowd, may riot, may engage in certain activities that he becomes later shocked by. When you are a part of a crowd mentality, changes. Crowd mentality is always dangerous, and vast majority lives by crowd mentality. In religious terms, we can call this collective karmas. For instance, if there is a riot, looting on the street, you are a very honest person, but when there is a riot, you may not think twice of picking up the items from the shop. This is crowd mentality. The consciousness at that moment is at the lowest ebb. In religious terms, this we can call collective karma. But going into the karma aspect of it is totally different issue. The crowd mentality is known as the third stage in the present context of the virus. It spreads then at a faster pace. At this stage, it becomes uncontrollable, a pandemic. Today, everyone is now being given one remedy for this virus: seclusion in their homes for a certain number of days. One must introspect and strictly follow. A biophysicist, Nobel laureate, Professor Michael Levitt from Stanford University emphasized the distancing, the word that he used, distancing or seclusion, as essential to reduce and nullify the effects of this virus now rapidly crossing the stages. Still, there are ignorant ones who act otherwise under one pretext or the other. This may lead the third stage into the fourth. Nothing can be done for such persons. COVID-19 was a virus once, but now it has taken form of a pandemic. What began with an ordinary infection now has become a pandemic. And a pandemic should never lead to pandemonium. If it does, it will unravel all of society. Humans have made a simple virus, a pandemic, out of their unconscious and fear psychology. Whenever there is any situation like this, there comes a fear psychology. The virus may be very simple, but the fear that it creates in human mind is more serious. How does a disease or virus come to the physical level? I will look into from different angles. How does a disease or virus comes down to the physical level? At the moment a child takes birth, many stars emerge from around the earth's horizon, and each movement of the stars emit a specific vibration. Also, each star has its own individual movement. All these vibrations together create a musical harmony. Pythagoras called this harmony of the universe. This cosmic harmony regulates the state of health and illness throughout the life. But somehow, traversing along life's road, this harmony is lost. If somehow we can restore this harmony once again, we can attain to health. This is an investigation on how healing can happen. It begins with a passage from Sri Aurobindo's Savitri. The fathomless zero occupied the cosmos and your world of finiteness. It is out of this fathomless zero first evolved ether or sky, then came air, followed by fire, the remaining elements, the water, the earth, and thus life evolved. The soul, the mind, the physical body. Your physical body is mere showcase of all that happens at other planes or bodies and at energy level. Any virus or disease first of all appears at the level of energy. It can be very easily understood by structural engineers. A thought comes to the mind of a financer to build a building. The thought in his mind nobody knows. It is at a level that nobody knows. He calls his architect, explains to him of his plan. Architect gives it a shape. Then he prepares a model, wooden or anything. From that, when it is placed for visit, some people can understand it. And it is only when the structure comes into place, then everybody knows. Something like this happens. Any virus or disease or problem first of all appears at the level of energy. Not everyone can detect the disease at this stage. This stage is without any symptoms. If you are familiar with biorhythm cycles of energy, you can detect. In the past, the masters have emphasized that each seeker understand this biorhythm chart. It is the chart that deals with the rhythmic movement of your energy. We know very well that women have this biorhythmic chart as menstrual cycle. Not only women have these cycles, men too have these cycles. In case of a woman it is evident, but in case of a man it is not evident. But men do have these cycles. There are 3 cycles: physical cycle, the mental cycle, and intellectual cycle. Sometimes these, not sometimes, most of the cases these overlap. It takes 28 days for physical cycle to complete, 33 and 35 days to complete the mental and intellectual cycle. During that period, your energy level is low, your vision is not clear, and things like these happen. A person who is familiar with his biorhythmic chart, he will understand it very well that today my spirit, my energy level is low. I must now take the decision. When the sickness descends to the physical level, it becomes symptomatic. Symptoms starts appearing at the physical level, that is the body. Body starts showing the symptoms. That is why certain viruses or skin diseases appear on the skin only after a certain period of time. This happens with each disease. Even with your current COVID-19, it takes a few days before the symptoms begin to appear. But somehow or the other, in the form of discomfort, we do feel its effect. This is at the energy level. It is at this level when the symptoms starts appearing at the physical plane, the medical science comes into effect. Awakened ones work at the level of energy, whereas the masses, including the medical science, works from symptoms. I have observed whenever any such situation comes in, I would like to retire in my solitary realm. I would not talk to anyone. If someone says, "May I help you?" you don't need to. I have a phone. If I need your assistance, I can give you a call. This may sound very unpleasant to the person, but I want to maintain my solitude, no connection, and I will take a rest. There is nothing better than this as a remedy. No medicine, just water, that is more than enough. Let us start understanding where this virus began. This began in a wet market in the city of Wuhan in China. Human preying upon innocent animals, purchasing wild animals for the purchase of their desires, consuming nature and the wild only for their vain desires. Coronavirus or RNA, ribonucleic acid RNA, with a lipid envelope and spikes that attack the lungs of animals. Like SARS and MERS, these viruses live in the animals and only jump to humans on rare occasions. When we abuse animals, encroach upon their habitat, eat them for no reason, when our unconscious voracious behavior overtakes our spiritual nature, again we must introspect. Human body is not made by nature to consume such products. Like coronavirus 19, which is causing current pandemic, the influenza pandemic of 1918 came from an animal. The bubonic plague by rats, Ebola from chimpanzees, as man has encroached upon the animals to have plagues and pandemics. The first and the foremost important point is that we must return to natural, synergistic harmony with animals and nature to avoid such pitfalls again. We are not aliens nor as strangers joined. We are bound to each other by a causeless force. You can call this consciousness God or by any other name. The energy that flows into you flows into the plants, the sentient, insentient, matters not. But humanity has divided on various grounds, all superficial, but significant to those who create such divisions. There is a particular prayer in Hindu scripture called Ishopanishad. It may sound the Sanskrit words. Because it is in Sanskrit words, many fanatics will outrightly reject it. Many, the television sets, the electricity, the law of gravitation were developed by Christian and Jews. Will anyone reject this? No. But the human imbecility continues. The prayer begins, Isha vasyamidam sarvam yat kinch jagatyam jagat tenu tyaktenu bhunjitha magradha kashyasvidhanam. I will give the meaning of each word. Isha means God, the Lord, the supreme power, or whatever way you want to call it, Allah, God, anyone, doesn't matter, but it exists maybe in the sound vibration. Now the scientists have proven that the earth vibrates at a certain frequency. Isha refers to God, the Lord, that energy that unifies. Vasya means clothes, envelops, pervades, dwells. Idam means this, sarvam means all. Yat kinch means whatsoever. Jagatyam refers to this cosmos or universe. Jagat, a word again used out of that to refer to world, moving, movable earth. Ten tekten, renouncing it. Bhunjitha, enjoy. Ma, don't. Gridha, covet. Kasha, whose. With, indeed, dhanam, wealth. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled, owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one must not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. In this material world, full of things that appear and disappear, now and then one should perceive and understand that even such worldly transitory things are filled in with the presence of Lord. This is what is Isha Vasimidam Sarvam. That consciousness, that energy pervades the entire cosmos. God pervades everything in this universe. By so perceiving and feeling that, one can protect him from the bond of karmas, the accumulated actions. One should also conceive oneself that he has been provided by the Lord with all the things necessary for his existence, the air, the water, the fire, everything. With that sort of contentment, one should try to avoid being greedy or jealous about others or others' riches. Mother from Sri Aurobindo Ashram said, all resources belong to God. Just as if you are a managing director in a big conglomerate, you are the financial in charge, head. All the finance remains your responsibility. But do these finance belong to you? Certainly not. You have been entrusted a certain authority because of your competence, because of your understanding, because of your interest of that business conglomerate. In the same way, God has entrusted you has vested certain powers, certain authority in you, and this is the meaning of this. Everything belongs to the universe, to God. If you can flow with that, you are there to enjoy the fruits of the nature. If you restrict yourself, the air is for you, the fresh air. If you out of any reason block yourself from that, you will deprive in that of the freshness that air brings to you. Lord is enshrined in the hearts of all. The Lord is the supreme reality. Rejoice in him through renunciation. Covet nothing. All belongs to the Lord. You are simply custodian, nothing more. Once you are one with the whole, that means you are one with the trees, the mountains, the rivers, the stars, the animals, the suns, the moon. Then this infinite cosmos is yours, and all its resources are for you to enjoy. Second, we must observe the symbols and spiritual signs around us. The pandemic has only one known cure: seclusion. And even Professor Michael Levitt of Stanford University talks about distancing, seclusion in one's home, the inner space, the inner emptiness. This does not mean you lock yourself into the room, keep your social media active, turn on to the television, and even I understand Netflix is giving for during this period of seclusion free movies. So where are you separated, secluded yourself? In the company, seclusion means you are in the company of the higher consciousness. Introspect, meditate. Stay inside does not mean gluing to television, sets, FB, and other social media. You have to check. Certainly, it is not my cup of tea. As Sufi people approach the holy month of Rajab, the spiritual masters tended to head towards 40 days of khilwat. Khilwat means seclusion. This time, billions of people all around the world were instructed by their government to turn seclusion to their homes. Their cure for the virus is also designed to cure them from crowd consciousness, to find their true abode beyond the hysteria of the Maya, and to return to calm waters of consciousness. The Jewish and Christian people are about to celebrate Passover. Passover is a celebration of a spring of birth and rebirth, of a journey from slavery to freedom, and of taking responsibility for yourself, the community, and the world. This culminates for in Christians with Easter, the resurrection and return of Christ. Remember, all this happens within you now during this period. Remember, staying inside is not what it is meant by the masters and the awakened ones. This entire movement from crowd consciousness to inner harmony will be a spring, a rebirth of your true self as you escape the bonds of fear and break the tyranny of ego and nafs. Third, it is absolutely wrong to ask how to save oneself and humanity from such pandemic that is spreading at rapid pace. Your question should be how to save oneself and the humanity from the fear of death and avoid the pandemonium that has deepened in you and humanity because of the so-called pandemic. Cure from one virus is very simple and easy. Hindus observe fasting during a period known as Navratri, 9 Nav means 9, Ratri means night. This is 9-day worship of Goddess Durga, the embodiment of energy. These forms are simple manifestation of 9 essential herbal remedies. According to Hindus, there are 9 essential remedies. I will take you somewhat into the ancient times, another age. During the time when the Hindu Lord Ram incarnated, at that time there comes an episode when the girl had to choose for her bride. A certain kind of competition were held, and during this period a bow was kept, and whosoever breaks the bow will wed to the girl. So that means the girl did not have any choice, but she also has a choice who she wants to break the bow. So the bow belonged to another incarnation, and as soon as the bow is broken, he comes down full of his ego and anger. He could not recognize the one who broke the ego was himself an incarnation of Lord. Argument breaks between this particular person known as Parashuram and Ram's younger brother. Then finally he comes to know that it was Ram who broke the bow, and by divine grace he gets the glimpses of who this person is. He gives him his bow and he said, this bow belongs to the Lord. If you can hold an arrow on this bow, I will recognize you. Ram takes the bow in his hand and he puts an arrow, because this is not that one of the important guns you can hold in your hand or can use it. Similar was the situation. As soon as this happened, this person Parashuram recognized Ram as an incarnation of Vishnu. He blessed him. At this, Ram says, Bhagwan, you know it very well. Once I pull the trigger, that means I held the bow on the arrow. It cannot be left as it is. You tell me, which direction should I shoot this arrow? Two ways are there. I can destroy your good deeds that you have earned in your life. Or second, he has been bestowed with the capacity to travel without traveling, and he never stayed on one place for more than few moments. Every night he has to return to the mountain. Which one should I destroy? At this, Parashuram tells Ram, Ram, do not destroy this power of my traveling without traveling, because when I won the earth and gave it to my master, he told me not to stay at one place. In the night, I must return to my mountain abode. So do not destroy this. Shoot this arrow in the northern direction. What will happen? That place will become desert-like. Nothing will grow there except certain herbs which will be for the betterment of humanity. This is the Himalayan range. And with that, all my ego, vanity, good deeds, whatever I had done will vanish. And Ram shoots an arrow in that. This is the historical perspective. And it is in the northern range, Himalayan range, that these herbs grow. And these 9 forms of Durga, which are known, each known as by a specific name, is manifestation of that energy, that herb. And theoretically, there are 4 seasons, seasonal Navratri. However, in practice, is the post-monsoon autumn festival called Sharda, that is means Sharad means the winter Navratri, that is most observed in the honor of the divine feminine energy, and the other is the Ashwin, that is during the spring season, which typically falls in the Gregorian month of September and October, the other in February, March. If you look at this, it scientifically, there are 2 times when the season changes. Winter is coming to an end. Summer is entering the season of spring. During that time, our energies are low. We get cold, common cold and things like these. But when there is abuse of the nature, the other creatures, then it comes, you are inviting this curse. The other, when summer is coming to an end, during the autumn time, once again the energy is low. These 9 forms of feminine energy are really manifestation of essential herbs. According to Ayurveda, these are essential herbs. We take pride in the fact that we never used to question anything, but it would have been better if we had asked questions and found out the significance. My grandmother, the Sufi master, used to say that you ask too many questions. It was the way of learning. Why did we not ask? Because of intellectual inertia. Inertia is of different kinds. Physical inertia is not as bad because it is usually temporary. There are also mental and emotional stupor that some people remain in, but intellectual inertia is the worst kind, because under this influence we do not want to think at all. It is said that people can live without air for 2 minutes, without water for few days, and without food for a month or so, and without thinking for generations. Some people do not want to think. It is our inner Mahisha, the lazy buffalo, and our spiritual Mahisha, the spiritual buffalo, is that we do not want to wake up from the deep sleep of ignorance. The 9 forms of this energy manifestation, the first is Shail Putri. Shail means mountain. Putri means daughter, daughter of the mountains, known as the first. This day is associated with Shail Putri. During this period of 9 days of worship, you are asked to eat specific foods. We engaged in so many foods that is tongue oriented. We do not understand the significance of foods. There are certain grains which are gluten free. For instance, buckwheat. For amaranth, these are the seed oriented, not grains. Buckwheat. Then water chestnut flour. During this period, you are supposed to spend time in inner solitude, inner seclusion, eat less, and first day you have to use a particular flour. Maybe buckwheat, maybe amaranth, maybe something else. And this helps to restore the energy level. This is known as Pratipad. The day associated with Shalputri literally means daughter of the mountain, an incarnation of Parvati, the consort of Shiva. It is in this form that goddess is worshipped as the consort of Shiva. She is depicted as riding the bull Nandi. Bull means energy. And you will recall the story of 10 bulls. Bulls is symbolic of energy. The taming of the bull. The bull is lost. That is a 12th century a Zen painting. The bull is lost. He is searching here and there and not finding anywhere. Then somehow he sees the streaks of the bull. The energy begins to return, and in the last he rides the bull and returns, and he says, I go to the marketplace with a bottle of wine and a woman. Before me even the trees become alive. This is the way. When you have restored the energy in you, you are alive, and whosoever comes around you becomes alive. So she rides the bull, means she has restored her energy, and she is riding that energy as the vehicle. Energy becomes the vehicle that takes the goddess, that form of energy, to move around. She holds a trident in his hand, in her right hand, means she is ready to overcome any obstacle. And in the right hand, she holds a lotus. Using the two hands is symbolic, means you can use your two hands, they are ambidextrous, and your energy is not divided into the right side of the brain or the left side of the brain. It is one, unified. We are very indecisive for simple things like this, whether we should drink Coke or Pepsi. It is such a simple thing. The color of the day is red, which depicts action and vigor. The second, Brahmacharini. Brahma means consciousness, one who dwells in the realm of consciousness. Goddess Brahmacharini, another incarnation of Parvati, is worshipped in this form. She becomes Sati, her unmarried self. It is worshipped for emancipation of moksha, endowment of peace and prosperity. These then Chandra, Ghanta, Kushmanda, Katyani, Kalratri, Mahagauri, and Siddhidatri. The last day of the festival is known as Navami, means the 9th day. People pray to Siddha. Siddha means something which has attained fruition. Ratri means night. Sitting on a lotus, she is believed to possess and bestow all types of energies. Here she has 4 hands, also known as Saraswati, the goddess of learning. The light blue color of the day portrays the admiration towards nature's beauty. Every year 2 times, before spring and before autumn, whenever there is a change of weather conditions, immune system weakens. During this period, one can get common cold to acute infection. During each day of this 9-day period, One is asked to fast with specific foods. One can get details on this via Google. Whenever there is an outbreak of any virus, psychological fear of death comes in human mind. Media and public opinion intensifies this fear of death in many ways. Hence, an ordinary virus takes the form of a pandemic. People die not so much because of the fear as because of fear, thus deepening in human mind. Number of death out of fear far exceeds the actual death caused by the virus. There is nothing more dangerous virus than fear. It spreads like a wildfire and grips people without discrimination on the basis of religion, nation, political belief. Everyone comes in its grip. Try to understand this fear, and even before death, you can become a living corpse because of this fear. The atmosphere of panic that you are seeing now, or the dance of death around, has nothing to do with virus. It is a collective madness that happens after a certain interval. Symptoms change, names of the virus change, but collective madness grips humanity after a certain interval. There is an individual collective madness. Also, there is a collective madness based on belief systems of a community. Sometimes this madness arises due to national or worldly causes as well. Under these situations, man is not living in harmony with the existence and himself. Divisions are on the basis of caste, creed, religion, and nations. This is nothing but madness. As this deepens, fear of death grips human mind. Psyche changes and takes the form of pandemic. This brings deformities and leads to death. This has happened in the past more than 1,000 times and will continue in future as well until man does understand the psychology of fear and crowd virus. Crowd virus. Stop creating fear. Stop rejoicing fear. Stop highlighting fear like a pandemic. Ordinary, everyone rejoices fear in one form to some extent. Introspect how many different types of fear you nourish in your mind or imagine on a daily basis. If a man does not rejoice fear, why would he go to watch a horror movie or horror TV shows? We watch, there are crime shows which we rejoice. Try to understand this rejoicing of fear within. Without this, you will not understand the psychology of fear. Look within this tendency of fear. An interest creating fear in others. Remember, whatever interest you take, whenever you take interest or whatever interest you take in such activities is inapplicable to awaken your unconscious completely. However, in such case, you remain the owner. This ownership is lost during collective madness. Your unconscious mind can completely overtake the situation and you will not know in this effort of getting afraid and creating fear in others because you have lost control. You are then puppet to this fear, and you can be made to do anything. In coming times, suicide cases will increase, and also liking others for various reasons will intensify. Be alert and awake. Do not watch the videos or movies that could create fear in you unless the outside things do not affect you or intensify your fear. Stop talking about any virus as pandemic. Remember, repeating something again and again creates a state of self-hypnosis. Fear is a kind of auto-hypnosis. If you keep on repeating the same thing again and again, it becomes your psychology. The more you try to, I recall when I was a student, one of our classmates used to I forget the actual word. He cannot talk. He used to stammer. So whenever there was an attendance, the teacher will call the numbers. So he will start preparing. His number was 10. From 9 he will start preparing. He has to say yes sir. So sometimes it happens by the time he made an effort to say yes sir, it comes out on the 9th or sometimes on 10th or 11th. So the teacher also used to stammer, and there used to be, and nobody could understand that both of them stammer. And he will ask, the teacher will ask him to get out of the class. The person will say, why should I go? So I started imitating him. And in that it happened, after some time I realized it has become like an auto-hypnosis. I immediately has to stop imitating him or making fun of him. In the beginning it was making fun of him. Fear is a kind of auto-hypnosis. Repeating one kind of thought brings alchemic changes within. And sometimes these chemical changes can be so poisonous that it can take your life or the life en masse. Shift your attention from pandemic to many other creative things happening in and around you. Everyone when they gather, they talk about the pandemic. They never talk about the sunrise. They never talk about sunset. They never talk about the breeze blowing or the sea, the calmness. Meditation creates an aura of indomitable energy field that prevents the negative thought in the form of virus or thought patterns to enter your inner space. Today, entire world is gripped with negativities and destructive activities. If you follow such trend, you can fall into the black hole any moment. Ride the boat of meditation to sail through. It is the secret of this time. Every plague or large natural disaster tends to be followed by a creative moment of conscious opening, just as the plagues with Moses, after which people of Israel were freed, just like the flood of Noah and the 40 days and night of contemplation on the ocean which led them to safety. and a new society. Today, this pandemic should not lead you to pandemonium, but inner reflection. Now, billions of people are away from the crowd. Billions have the opportunity to meditate and change the vibratory confrontations in their lives. If they do not take heed, the crowd will form, spread the virus. If we avoid fear, we will be saved. If we do not, we will get pulled into those oceans and of our Noah's Ark. Our ark is inward, our heart, our inner space. In our heart center, the vibrations can settle and true energy flow, again bringing life and spring into our consciousness. That is the real meaning of the festival of Easter. Be in the company of the awakened one. Focus on your simple diet rather than the complex one. Do not abuse nature. Be synergistic with it. Last, trust. Have patience. No need to fear death. Even when it knocks at your door, befriend death. Through meditation, you can befriend death. Fear is ignorance. It symbolizes that up to now you have lived your life wrongfully. Those who postpone today for tomorrow are gripped by fear. One who lives life moment to moment, death is never a prey for him. Introspect on life and ways of living once again. One day you have to enter death. Death is ultimate relaxation. Be prepared for it when it comes. Now the precaution so that this does not manifest at the physical plane. Build your immune system and be your own doctor. I am sharing certain important information with you all. The cause of death is respiratory problem. Because of infection, mucus thickens and accumulates in the throat. Because of this, respiratory channels are blocked and one needs ventilator. How to cure this mucus? Mucus remains in throat for 3 days before moving to the lungs. If you can neutralize the mucus in the throat, one can be cured. How to neutralize it? Take hot beverages like water. Some people are accustomed, develop the habit of taking lukewarm water first in the morning. You can take coffee, tea, turmeric water with curcumin, that is the purest form of turmeric, and other beverages on a regular basis. The more you take hot liquid, the mucus will melt and one can avoid respiratory problems. When with hot beverages, the thick mucus will go into your stomach, and the stomach is designed in such a way that any moment something comes into it, the gastric juices release from all sides of the stomach and nullify the effects of the mucus and regular digestion process. This is one method. Next is doing regular gargles with salt water. I have suggested some have suggested the use of potassium permanganate or alum. Alum is a salt of aluminum, which is, I will not go into, I would simply suggest take the salt water into the hot water, dissolve it and do the gargles as many times as you can to keep your throat clear. You can do it morning and evening. The third is to improve upon your immunity. You can look into this. You can seek the assistance from your doctor, but your immune system weakens because of your blood system being acidic. Acidic blood system attracts many ailments, make your system alkaline. It is said that baking soda or carbonate of soda bicarb helps in taking it and dissolve in the water, helps in that, but seek medical assistance. What I do, taking the vitamin C from the plant sources, 1000 milligram on a regular basis with time release helps. When there is a possibility of infection or in the air, you can take as much as 3 tablets for the day. Again, I am not a medical expert, but I can speak only on the basis of my own expertise. Then there is the herbs golden seal and echinacea. Combined or separate, it is said that vitamin C, golden seal and echinacea helps to build up immune system. In our country, we get the brand by Nature's Way, which is quite good. And in United States, in Whole Foods, you can get much better brands. To build up immune system, my personal doctor has suggested that you take 5 golden seal and echinacea combined or separate and 5 vitamin C 1000 milligram time release 3 times per day for a period of 5 days. Then you do not need to take. Your immune system will be strong and you can stop. In the beginning, 2 times for the year, I follow this treatment as and when it may be necessary. The result of this and following the advice of the doctor, it is from 1988. You can count the days, number of years that I have not taken any antibiotic. And I am nearing across 70 years of my life. I have not taken any antibiotics since 1988. When you are going out, usually using a hand sanitizer, wearing mask is considered normal way, but this is not enough. Virus remains in your hair and clothes. As soon as you return home, do not touch anything, metal, surface where it is supposed to remain. It is said to have remained for a certain number of hours. I will not call it because there are conflicting views over it. But let someone else open the door, go straight and take a shower, put your clothes to laundry, wash metal door handles, car doors with alcohol-based liquids. Last was most important. Do not use anything cold. Water, juice, ice cream. I do not like the cold water. Even when we go to the restaurants, I ask water at room temperature. Drinking hot water after the meals is considered more important. I have simply shared with you the spiritual dimension based on my understanding, and I am thankful for this. Some of our friends, firstly, this question was raised by one of our beloved friend who never writes like or anything, but he is a silent watcher. The other is the person whom, after I prepared my initial documents as an assistance so that I do not deviate from my topic, that's why I clearly said I will not go into karma. I had sent him the script for his medical expertise, which is not my field. I hope I have spoken and answered and prepared you for this. There is no need to panic. With trust in yourself, you will, and using the time into inner solitude, will help you to overcome this situation. May you remain blessed within. And one thing more, the certain governments, specifically the Prime Minister of India, has introduced a 21 days of lockout. Why 21 days? In Trinidad, the world, it has been suspended. The country is on lockout until 15th of April. What is the significance of 3 weeks? Whenever a master gives you a meditation technique, he tells you from 3 weeks to 3 months. In Ayurvedic, a medicine is given for 3 weeks course. What is the significance of it? Your body is moving at a certain rhythm. It has a certain energy patterns. So first week, the medicine simply breaks that pattern. It takes 1 week to break that patterns. Second week, it starts gaining momentum in you. It begins to work. And in the third week, your body gets adjusted to new foreign element and starts moving into that. Just as you are already using a particular kind of gas in your car, you change it to high octane gas. There is some residual of the older gas. It mixes up with the new high octane. The efficiency will not be as much as when it is used exclusively. So first week, the medicine starts working in you. It starts making inroads. Second week, it starts working, consolidating its effect, and the third week it goes auto gear. That is why it has been emphasized for 3 weeks period. Whenever anyone asks to do any chilla or zikr, it is 3 weeks to 3 months maximum. So that is the reason that Indian Prime Minister has made a call to have a 3 weeks lockout. He used this opportunity to create, to change your inner life. Only this much for this morning. If there arises any more question, you are free to send it. Post it on the Facebook timeline or WhatsApp or Messenger. I will try to respond in tomorrow's session. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day. May you all be blessed. It is wrong to say each one of you is blessed. Stay blessed now and ever. Take care.